I realized that I actually, it's immediately after I just finished my Ontario Confederation video, but I just realized I immediately skipped over one of the big causes of Confederation. Another big cause, aside from Americans coming to invade us. Basically, it would be actual invasion from the Irish Americans. In the 1860s and into the 1870s, there was a group of Irish Americans known as the Fenian Brotherhood. They were Irish Americans who were exiled from Ireland and had fought in the Civil War, actually, on the side of the Union. And they basically, they had an army of trained soldiers. They basically thought, you know what, we're going to fight for a free Ireland, and we're going to invade the British colonies in Canada, and either hold them ransom in exchange for a free Ireland, or make a new Ireland there. And so that's the idea of the Fenian raids. And of course, the United States doesn't officially endorse this, but so the Fenians start raiding in Canada, basically, and kind of pillaging the countryside. So Sir John A. Macdonald actually comes into play once again. He's a member of Canada's Legislative Assembly at that point, and he kind of also leads the military response. However, Sir John A. Macdonald is famous for having a love of whiskey, constantly, all the time. He was always drinking whiskey. Like, I'm surprised he didn't die earlier of liver poisoning. He's in charge of this, of Canada's response to the Fenian raids. And when he becomes Prime Minister, he also is in charge of this. There's a famous story about, like, shortly before Confederation actually happens, he's, like, acting Prime Minister, because the Constitution's already been approved. We're just waiting for July 1st to happen. But the Fenians invade. And there's a famous story about him commanding, kind of like giving orders to troops while piss drunk. Like, he was absolutely wasted, and, like, we won, obviously, but, like, it's just a famous, hilarious story about Sir John A. Macdonald being an absolute drunk and horrible person, but, like, still doing this great thing to nation-building project. Sir John A. Macdonald, he was a horrible person. He was actually considered extremely racist even for Victorian England. Like, he had very extreme views. The Fenian raids were one of those things that actually happened that were really worrisome to Canadians, because it actually was an invasion. We consider it invasion. And, the Americans actually were helpful in that a couple of the raids, they actually sent the army to arrest the Fenians at the border, because they didn't like the British. The United States didn't like the British. They didn't like the fact that they didn't like Canada, other than the fact that they wanted to conquer us. But they also didn't want to, they had also just come out of a horrible, bloody civil war. And they were busy reconstructing the South and, kind of rebuilding. They didn't want to get drawn into a war with the foremost military power in the world, which was Britain at that time. So they kind of just were like, all right, fine, we'll arrest you we'll deal with the Fenians so that they won't bother your new country that you're creating. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Fenians. Obviously, there were a lot of Irish Canadians that were living in Canada at the time, and they actually fought on the side of Canada and Britain too. But it's just interesting because this also led to a very anti-Irish sentiment in Canada during the late 19th century. It did disappear over time. And what's interesting is that actually my grandmother's grandfather came over to Canada around the 1880s and 1890s, around this time too. Like, this is kind of where my family story kind of also happens, on my mother's mother side of the family. So yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about it a bit. Yeah, so I'll catch you later.